It's Coach Schuman here for Success for Life podcast. I'm glad to have on another guest, another podcast here. I have Naden on, and we're going to talk about the brain, the most fascinating part of the body that no one understands. So we're gonna dive into that today, and I have Naden, who is an expert on the brain, how it functions, how to get the most out of yourself. How to tap into maybe areas that we haven't thought about before. Liam, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Dave. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me, and this is something that's obviously I know what the brain is, but tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into the area of the brain, neurostate rebalancing, and really understanding that area.
Okay, well, for most of my life, probably like a lot of your listeners, I've been consumed with a passion to understand how to make my life better and to achieve success. And even from a young age, I can remember always wanting more, always wanting to be better. And really that carried on right through my adult life as an entrepreneur. And I had a number of different businesses throughout my earlier years. And at the same time, I was studying everything I could about how to improve myself. And I looked at things like religion. I was brought up as a Christian. So I was very into how the Bible teaches success. And I could talk a little bit about that a bit later, because it's a very good success manual, the Bible, actually, even though I didn't realize it at the time. And then I got into, when I got my own businesses off the ground and they were successful, I really went down the whole area of self-improvement, self-help, looking at things like goal setting, motivation, all of the different disciplines that people use to try and perform better, to be the best version of myself. And I went to seminars all around the world and read all sorts of books and did all sorts of things. And I thought I had a pretty good handle on success in my life. I was doing really well financially. I had nice assets, and I had businesses that were successful, and it was all going quite well. But the one thing I noticed through all of this was I had a lot of stress in my life, and I had a lot of problems. And it seemed to me that the more successful you are, it's almost like problems come with the territory. And we're led to believe, well, if you want to be successful, and if you are successful, you are going to have a lot of problems. You are going to have a lot of challenges. You're going to have a lot of stress. And that's just the way it is. And you have to learn to break through those challenges and just live with stress and problems. And so that's what I came to believe, and that's how my life was. So on the outside, pretty successful. But on the inside, I really wasn't that happy. I didn't feel in control of my life, which is what I was looking for, was to feel I was on the right track and I was doing really well and I didn't need to worry about things, but I did worry. So anyway, things were going along fine, and then a few bad decisions, if you like, sort of caught up with me, and in my mid-40s I actually lost everything and I became homeless, and all of my wealth, all of my income, my businesses, my family, my marriage, it all just disappeared, and I had nothing. And I thought a few things. One of the things I thought was, why has this happened to me? Because I know everything I think there is to know about how to be successful and how to be in control of your life. I know how to set goals and achieve goals. I know how to work it with my thoughts and my brain and change my mindset and be motivated and do all of those things. So how come I've ended up with nothing? This should never have happened to me. But what happened after that was how I got onto the brain, because things actually started to go in quite a different way for my life after I cleaned up the mess, as it were, from all of the waking up with the phone ringing and it's people wanting money that I didn't have, and I was facing bankruptcy and court hearings and all these sorts of things. But things did improve after a while, after a few months. And then I noticed after a while after that, my life was going an awful lot better. And I was starting to do things that I really enjoyed. And I was starting to set up new businesses and create new business opportunities, doing things that I loved. And I attracted a new sort of relationship that was unlike the stressful ones I'd had before. It was a lot better for me. So my life was starting to go really well. And I thought, it suddenly occurred to me, I don't have any problems. I don't have any stress. Finally, I'm doing what I always wanted to do, which is feel in control of my life. And doing all the as I say, doing the things I wanted to do, but not with the stress, the problems, the struggle that I'd had before. So that's when I thought, I want to figure out what I've been doing right, because I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I want to make sure I keep doing it because this is working really well. And that's what led me, after all my study on success and things, to a study of the brain. And what I realized was the brain is a few things. You know, you mentioned at the beginning, in the introduction, that we don't really understand the brain. And that is quite amazing when you think about it, given that it's the most powerful machine that exists on the planet. It's vastly more powerful than any computer or any supercomputer or even all the computers combined. In fact, they did a study a few years ago, or an experiment, where they took one of the largest supercomputers in the world. It's called the Fujitsu K supercomputer in Japan. And they carried out an experiment where they got it to do a task that the human brain can complete in 1 second. And it took this computer, one of the most powerful in the world, 40 minutes to do one thing that the human brain does in 1 second. So we don't understand the brain. We don't know anything about it. It's this incredible thing, and no one's taught us, firstly, how powerful it is, and secondly, how it's the key to actually getting everything we want in our life, living the life that we enjoy and are supposed to live, and we just need to understand how to use it the right way. And that's what I do now, is really help other people, because when I figured out how to use my brain the right way, and that I was using it in a different way to what I had before, I've really gone on a mission to help other people understand it as well.
Yeah, and that's incredible how, first of all, your journey from the top to the bottom, back to the top, which is really incredible. But understanding the brain and how to be able to be successful without having the anxiety, without having all the other issues associated with that. Tell me, a couple of the highlights of the things that we would want to do to start rebalancing our brain to be able to have success without any of those issues.
Right. Well, the first thing to realize is that your brain, as well as being infinitely powerful, as I said, it is actually just a machine. And if you think about any machine that we have, what is it about a machine that, what are the characteristics of a machine? Firstly, that it's designed to do a specific job. And for instance, a motor car, we know that it's designed to get us from where we are to where we want to go. That's what it's designed to do. And the brain is designed to do a certain thing as well. So when you understand that it's a machine, what one of the other things you realize is that if you have any problems, with a machine, what does that tell you? If you have problems with your car, in other words, you get in and you try to drive it somewhere and you have problems, it doesn't move or it doesn't go very well, or you have an unpleasant journey, you just say, I'm driving this the wrong way. I'm doing something wrong that's creating problems. And ironically and somewhat strangely, the conclusion you come to from a biological perspective and a scientific perspective, it's the same with the brain. When you use it the wrong way, this machine, that the result is problems. And so when you don't use it the wrong way, you inevitably don't have problems, because it's designed to bring you, just like a car is designed to get you from where you are to where you want to go. It's the same with the brain. It's designed to get you to where you really want to go. But it does it in a way that none of us have been taught. And that's why we struggle and create problems and try and figure things out and get all stressed and really put in a lot of the wrong effort to getting anywhere. And I'm sure most of your listeners will realize, a lot of the time we put in a huge amount of effort and we go in the wrong direction, or we create more problems for ourselves. And that's a bit like getting into a car and saying, now I'm sure the way to get this car from here to where I want to go is to get out from behind and push. And I'm going to put in all the energy, I'm going to be so motivated, and I'm going to push this car and it'll get me to where I want to go. Now you'd think, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? Well, you'd only do that if you didn't know how to use a car. And then you'd say, perhaps, oh, it's not moving. I need to try harder. I need to push harder. I need to build my muscles, get stronger. Now, the only thing that's going to happen there is you're going to get exhausted. You're going to damage your body. You're going to have a very unpleasant time, and you're not going to get anywhere. And it's all because we didn't understand how to use. No one taught us that a car is designed, it has levers and buttons and pedals, and you use it in a certain way, and it'll take you on your journey, get you to where you want to go in a really enjoyable way, no problems, no stress, because that's what the machine's designed to do. So you can see the analogy with the brain here.
Is the whole body is a machine that needs to be improved, worked on, developed. And I think that what are some techniques like so that a regular person can use to start to be able to help their brain function in an efficient manner? Like you said, like a car, we're not putting in regular gas, we're putting in that premium gas in there. And how does that work?
Well, the beauty about it is it's not that hard. You just need to understand it. It's not hard to understand, but it is actually quite difficult to do because it's the opposite of what we've all been told. And I'll tell you what the simple answer is to what all you need to do to use your brain the right way. But before that, I'll tell you a little bit about the 4 parts of the brain and how they work, because then your understanding will go, why would I use it any other way? I understand what these 4 parts are. This is the way they work, obviously. This way I've got to use it. So in essence, we have 4 parts of our brain, and these are all physical locations. This isn't about the mind. This is about the physical operation of your brain, although the mind, or what we understand to be the mind, plays into it. We have 4 parts, and in my teaching and coaching, I simplify all of the medical and scientific terms into really their function. So the first part is our thinking brain. This is located on the top of our head, and this is where we store all of the information that we gather in our life. So it's from all our 5 senses and from all our thoughts as well. That information gets stored there in our thinking brain, and we can obviously get those thoughts back or retrieve the information from there. And it's also the part of the brain that's responsible for us being able to communicate. So that's the thinking brain. The second part of the brain, which is just underneath, is the emotional brain. And this is the part that creates our emotions, our feelings, and they can be good or bad, of course. The third part of the brain is what I call the survival brain, or the mechanical brain. This is located at the back of the head. And this looks after all of the non-thinking functions of our body that we never have to worry about, like breathing and digestion and all, keeping our body working without us having to think about it, and including all our mental, health and and the chemicals and everything working in our body. So that's our survival brain, because it doesn't think, but it just ensures that we survive. And there's a part of that brain that's very important, which is our danger response mechanism. It's often called the fight, flight, or freeze mechanism, or our survival mechanism. And the purpose of that, what actually happens is, or what's supposed to happen, people use their brain the wrong way, and you'll see clearly why in a second how this all works. But what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to be enjoying your life. That's what your brain, this infinite machine, is designed to give you. It's designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be with no stress, no problems, in a totally enjoyable way. So you're supposed to be living your life that way. And this is all of nature is like this. There's no stress or problems in nature. It's all designed to just flow. So you're supposed to live in that state, except for one instance. And that's when suddenly an immediate danger appears and is a threat to your survival. So, from prehistoric times, it's when the lion rushes out of the forest at you roaring, And what happens then? We all know what happens then. What happens is your brain, in very simple terms, sends a message to your body to say, this is an immediate danger, a threat. You need to switch gear and eliminate the danger. And what you actually do, you activate something called your sympathetic nervous system that makes you feel fear. Fear is the warning that you're facing an immediate danger, and your body reacts, or you react without thinking. So you run away from the lion, or you shout, or you try and fight, whatever it is. So this is perfect from our survival mechanism. So I repeat, because it's so important, you're supposed to live in this really enjoyable state of life where you're just enjoying your life and being the best person you can be. And then you have this alert system that if you were to face an immediate danger, your brain can switch gears and get you to react and fight that danger. So that's the third part of the brain. The fourth part of the brain is called the creative brain. And this is the part of your brain which is actually located quite deep inside your skull. This is the part of the brain where all your creativity comes from, where your aha moments, your gut feelings, your intuition, your inspiration, and also your motivation to when you're inspired and motivated. And remember, we were saying the brain is infinitely powerful as a machine, far more powerful than any other machine. So it also, this part of your brain, and science is starting to uncover this to be true, this part of your brain brings to you the right people, the right situations, the coincidences, the synchronicities. You know, there's nothing random in the universe. If there was, it wouldn't exist. Science tells us that as well. So none of these things, from our limited awareness, from our thinking brain, we think these are random events. We think, oh, how did I meet that person? It's just luck. But the creative part of your brain is actually organizing all of this for you to give you the best life experience that you can have. So that's the creative brain, and that's the part that's supposed to be driving your life. That's supposed to be bringing you opportunities. That's supposed to get you making the right decisions and stop making the wrong decisions. And how many times do people think, oh, should I be doing this? I'm not sure, but it doesn't quite feel right, but we go ahead and do it anyway. We make wrong decisions, and that's how we create mistakes, or one of the ways. So to answer your question, how to use the brain the right way, what you need to do is recognize that the part of your brain that activates fear should only be used when you face an immediate threat or danger, because you can't solve problems when you're in a fearful state. And the reason for that is what your brain does when it switches gear, when you feel fear and it switches you into this fight, flight, freeze state. It activates your sympathetic nervous system. What your brain does is it takes all of the resources from the rest of your brain and the rest of your body to direct it towards dealing with that immediate danger. And anything that is not helpful to dealing with that immediate danger is shut down and blocked off. And if a lion's running at you from the forest, how helpful is creativity, imagination, intuition, inspiration? None of those things are helpful. They're the opposite. You know, if the lion's running at you and you go, now maybe this isn't a danger here, but hang on, I need to sit down and evaluate all of the different scenarios about whether this might be a threat or a danger or not. And while I'm thinking about it, I've just noticed how beautiful the flowers are and the trees here. What a beauty! And I'm so grateful for my life. If you did that, the lion will eat you, won't it? So your brain literally, on a physical level, blocks all of that out. It blocks out those things that you need to solve problems, because that's the irony of it, is all of those things are what you need to solve the problems in your life and to make the right decisions and to stop making the wrong decisions and to be motivated. You need all that creative part of your brain. So the simple answer is, when you feel fear, you block that out, and you'll never be able to solve problems. You'll never be able to create the life you want, because you're using your fear mechanism the wrong way. That's only designed for an immediate danger. Because how are most people living? They're living feeling stressed, worried, afraid. And of course, we feed our brains with more stuff that makes us more stressed, worried, and afraid. And we don't realize, and what we try to do when we're feeling that way is we try and fix things, we try and solve our problems, we try and work it all out using our thinking brain, which is nothing more than our experiences gathered into like a library of experience. It's not where the answers are going to come from. So what we need to realize is fear is the enemy. If you feel fear, you activate your sympathetic nervous system and you block off all of your ability to solve any problem and to do the right thing. And this is what I find so fascinating, is that this is using the brain the right way. Sure, we need to feel fear when there's an immediate danger, but most of us are feeling afraid when there's no immediate danger. You know, we just have these thoughts, oh, well, maybe something bad could happen, or maybe I could lose my money or get sick or whatever. And we don't realize we're blocking off our ability, we're blocking off the part of our brain that's designed to make our life great.
That's some incredible stuff. I mean, first of all, the ability to shut off one area and completely by having fear, and then eliminating things like creativity and spontaneity and the ability to think things through and make decisions, because fear is holding you back, is an incredible concept. There's one other thing I want to touch on before we go, and you talked in the beginning about religion and how it plays into everything within the brain. I'd love to hear more about that.
Sure. Well, you know, I was brought up a Christian and I studied the Bible. And when I started to understand how the brain works, I was amazed that the Bible tells us this exactly, because it says more than 360 times in the Bible, do not be afraid. Be not afraid. Have no fear. Have faith. And it's not just saying that because it's a nice idea. That's how this is an instruction on how to use your brain. Don't be afraid, because when you're afraid, you haven't got a hope of living the great life that God has promised you, that God has created you to live. That's what you're here for. And he's given you the brain as a machine to do that by saying, here's the creative part of your brain. This is going to give you everything you want to be your best. Use it. And if occasionally a lion runs at you from the forest, there you go. That'll deal with that. But don't live in that state thinking a lion's coming at you all the time. That's doing it the wrong way. And what does Jesus say? Another wonderful illustration or example of using your brain the right way. He says, be not anxious. Give no thought for tomorrow. Do not worry about what you shall eat, drink, or what clothes you shall wear. How much more beautiful are you than the flowers and the animals, yet they don't stress and worry about how to provide for themselves. You're that much greater. Why should you worry? So don't be anxious. Don't be afraid. Give no thought for tomorrow. Now, that give no thought for tomorrow is, we probably haven't got time to talk about it, but it's about sitting down and writing a goals list and trying to figure out what you want and what you need and say, when I get this, I'm going to be happy. Because all of that comes from being afraid. If you really use your brain the right way and you knew you were going to get everything that was perfect for you, that your brain was this machine which is designed to be your connection to the infinite, that it was just going to bring it to you, no problem at all, in every moment, then you wouldn't try and figure out what you should do. You would just respond to your environment, feeling great, feeling happy, knowing, wow, this is all perfect, everything's good. And the funny thing is, when you're like that, good things show up.
No doubt about it. And there's amazing other examples in the Bible. You know, David going and fighting the Philistines when everybody else was fearful, right? And Daniel sitting in the cage with the lion, right? And not responding to the fear. And you're right. It's a blueprint. The Bible is a blueprint for how to utilize your brain, and Christianity in particular. I agree with you. It really gives you the full spectrum of what you could do to live your life without fear by having faith. So that's really, really awesome stuff. Can you tell everybody where they can find out more about it? And I'd love to have you on again too, because there's a lot more I'd like to dive into. But it's we'll have to have a part 2 here. Tell everybody where they can find you and how they can get in touch with you.
all the information about this is on my, and about me is on my website, which is just my name, liamnaden.com. And I've got some podcasts there and lots of information, coaching, and yeah, liamnaden.com.
So go to liamnaden.com and look him up, talk to him, make an appointment with him. Fascinating stuff. I learned a ton on this podcast. I can't thank you enough for coming on the Success for Life podcast. And I wish you the very best. We're going to have a part 2 because there's things I want to definitely dive into.
Love to. Be great. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.